Hi guys, it's Kelly Letivola here, and I am back with another video for Honeybee Stamps. Today is just a cute, simple little Valentine. I totally loved this bee. So I'm using the large cloud dies and the Fluttering Hearts pierced cover plate. There's actually two. Mine's just the pierced one. And then the Be Mine stamps and dies. Full disclosure here, people. I have to apologize to you because I did not realize when I set about using this adorable little bee that I'm sure you all now love and want, that it was actually the free stamp. It's the free stamp and dies, y'all. I did not know that when I picked it up to use it. I just knew he was super cute, and he is. So while I am a little bit sorry that I did use it, because the only way to get it is right now he's the free stamp from Honeybee. So if you spend $50, you get this cute little bee stamp with sentiments and the hearts and the whole deal. If you spend $100, you get the stamp set and the matching dies. He's otherwise not available for purchase. So I will also link some other super cute little bee sets that Honeybee has that you could totally use in place of this one if you don't qualify to get the free one. So anywho, I'm just adding a little bit of shaded lilac to the bottom of the clouds so they weren't just stark white. I did have some trouble picking them up off of my Waffle Flower multimedia mat because I had to cut down my nails. This on my left hand, I broke my thumbnail like down far, and so I had to cut it off. And I cannot just have the rest of them long while one of them is all bajiggity. I cannot do it. So I've cut off all my nails and I couldn't pick any of them up, any of the die cuts up. And so that was a little bit frustrating. I am going to do the background in Salty Ocean and then add some shading around the edges with Blueprint Sketch. This is after I've run it through my die cutting machine. It just leaves an impression of those hearts, and I wanted to do the distress inking afterward. So that the little piercing parts would be white. It helps them stand out more. And then the shading is just to add some interest. Once I'm done covering the whole thing in the Salty Ocean and then adding the Blueprint Sketch around just the edges, I'm going to go back in and use the die cut, the negative of the clouds as a stencil to put some of the same sized clouds in the background in blue. Again, because it's a super simple card, I wanted there to be some added interest in the background. Not that that's the focal point, but as you know, all the elements in a card design work together. So that was just something that I thought would add a little something to it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the bee stamp. He's really cute. He's really cute. I hope once the promotion to give him away is over that he is available for purchase, because I think he's darling. I don't normally, I think we talked about this previously, I don't normally do Valentines. I do them for Peanut, but like in my regular life, I don't typically do Valentines. But that doesn't mean I don't like making them and like giving them away to other people to use, because they're so cute. I love hearts. I love the love themes. There's just lots of really cute sets that come out this time of year that are mainly for Valentines. And I do get to use them when I make Peanut's Valentines for his class. So this year, you remember when we were talking about the kitting and I was so righteously angry about all of the paper I felt was being wasted. So now I have a stack of, I don't know, probably like 3.5 inch by 8.5 inch pieces of paper that I have left over from the kitting that are just white cardstock. And so I just kept the stack and figured I'd find something to do with them. So I was talking to Peanut about what he wanted to do for his Valentines. Last year we did glow sticks, and I was like, well, if we can do glow sticks again, then I'll be good. I can just reuse those pieces of paper I already have. But he doesn't want to do glow sticks again. So I came up with pencils, which is also like a long favor that's not candy. And so he's down for the Valentine's Day pencils. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I found some on I think it was Oriental Trading. They do like super cheap bulk sales. Because I'm not going to order from like Wish or AliExpress. Those things are the devil. But yeah, so I think that's what we're doing. I think we're going with pencils, and they have cute little heart erasers, which I think are adorable. I don't know how really the boys are going to feel about them, but they're in first grade, so I think we're still at an age that I can get away with it. I'm going to stamp this down, this cute little bee, with Copic Safe ink, because I am going to be doing Copic coloring here. Just something of note. I had somebody, and I'm sorry that I cannot remember who it was, sent me a message on Instagram and said that their, even though they were using Copic Safe ink, it was still bleeding. Like they were having bleeding issues. This ink, while it does not, a dye ink dries faster than a pigment ink, it doesn't dry instantaneously. And so if you have a large area like these bee stripes and you're going to color with a light color over it, either heat set it or give it a minute to dry, because if you go in there as soon as you're done stamping, you're going to smear it 100%. And it's not because the marker is interacting with the ink, it's because the ink is still wet. They do dry pretty quickly, so it's not like you have to give it like hours to dry, but maybe just give it a minute or two before you go in there with lighter colors. With the darker colors, it isn't as noticeable, I don't think. So it doesn't appear that it's super smeary unless you're, like if you have a MISTI or another stamp positioner and you're stamping multiple times, that ink is sitting on top of the paper waiting to absorb in and dry. So if you're just putting layer after layer of ink on there and then going in and coloring immediately, you're not giving it enough time to dry. So I picked my favorite golden yellow combination, and I am just adding shading to the left and the right of the bee. This is what we call a center highlight. Was not super concerned about a light source at all for this. Just, creating a little bit of depth and dimension for my little worker bee here, and that's about it. No light source whatsoever. So anyway, back to the Valentines. I don't know how the boys are going to feel about the little heart erasers. I think they are still young enough that it's not really going to matter, that they're just going to be excited that there's erasers, but we shall see. If not, if I wanted to do candy, I suppose I could do pixie sticks or something, but he seems down for the pencils, and I figure I'll just do, they're so cheesy, but it is what it is. So I'm going to do something like, right on, or you're right. Wait, no. What was the thing? I lost it now. You're just right, or something like that. Something cute for Valentine's Day, but the right would be WRITE, not RIGHT, because it's a pencil. But I think last year when we did the glow sticks, I think I did, what was the sentiment I put on it? Something like, you make me all aglow, or something like that. They were the hit of the Valentine's Day party, the glow sticks. And I feel better about not giving them a bunch of trash. I have a real issue with that. Just in general, I try, not that I don't ever let Peanut have sweets or candy, because obviously, as we talked about when we talked about my grandmother's birthday, that I did grow up with having, sweets and candy and those type of things. But I don't like to give him just trash. Like, I don't want him eating McDonald's every day. I don't want him eating Doritos in his lunch. I don't want him eating just sugary stuff for breakfast. Like, I just don't. And it seems to be an uphill battle for me, because I think I'm the only one who doesn't want him to do that. Decided to add a little pop of red for the heart and the sentiment, since I got the blue and the yellow going on, primary colors. Red is just a good color to add into the mix, especially in a small amount. But so like, I don't typically drink pop. It's not something that I drink very often. If you're from any other part of the world, soda, Coke, Pepsi, carbonated beverages, I don't drink them. And so I don't usually have them in the house. But like his dad lets him have Pop on the weekends, which I don't think is unreasonable. But then he's like super excited, for Pop, or he'll ask sometimes if he can have a Pop when it's not the weekend. My father, this is lovely. So he sometimes has trouble getting him to eat breakfast. Peanut will give him a hard time about eating breakfast. He's very much like me. He does not want to eat when he first gets up in the morning. Neither do I. And so ever since they started giving him Trix, the breakfast cereal Trix, he hasn't had any trouble getting him to eat. Well, I had to work early. My dad came over. This is not something I ask him to do, though I do appreciate it. He and my mama have decided they would rather not have him get up early, so they'd rather come to my house and wait for him to wake up or get him up for school. Because if I have to get him up, it's like almost 2 hours earlier. But anyway, so he calls me at work to let me know that I have no milk. Like, I didn't know I didn't have any milk. And I said, yeah, Dad, I know. I didn't stop at the gas station. Forgot we had no milk. I asked Nathan if he was fine with no milk or if he needed me to go to the store and get it. He said he was fine with it. He knows we have no milk. And then he proceeds to chastise me for having no milk, in a loving fatherly way, of course, because he has brought Trix with him, and how is he going to eat his Trix with no milk? And I was like, there's other things that are there for breakfast that are options for him that are not Trix, Pops. Yep, like he could eat other things. I know it's crazy, but he could. So I'm losing this battle. This junk food battle, unfortunately. But I mean, like I said, I'm not completely, this guy that I dated a long time ago, like when he was in school, his mom, he never ate peanut butter and jelly. He wasn't allowed to have peanut butter and jelly because jelly had too much sugar in it. And so he had peanut butter and, what did he have? Raisins? Peanut butter and raisins? Something like that. Here, I don't like where I place the cloud, but there's nothing I can do about it because I'm going to ruin it if I try to get it up. So I just go ahead and recommit to sticking it back down there. But so, like, I don't want to use the word extreme because I feel like that's judgmental, because to each their own. Like, if you want your kid to eat peanut butter and raisins, you do you, boo. But that's just a little bit more effort than I can put into it. I'm just trying to combat the known terribles. Like, Trix has no nutritional value, and I don't want to feed that to my child. But it's very, very difficult. And like, I was reading an article the other day about, what was it, Quaker flatbreads, and they're like, it has so much sugar in there, and they're like, well, why can't you just make them, why don't they just sell them without the sugar? And the problem is because we're so accustomed to all the sugar and sodium that they put in our food regularly when you purchase it, that even like having no sugar in there, it wouldn't be sweet enough. People would think it tasted awful. So that's a whole nother rant. But anyway, back to my cute little bee. So I popped up 2 layers of the clouds and half of the bee. So the top part of the bee is popped up. The bottom part of him is glued down flat. And then, of course, I added the glitters to everything, to the bee, to the 2 clouds on top. Did I add to the clouds on bottom? No, just the 2 clouds on top. And then the hearts, of course. And then that's it. That's the whole card. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I will be back again soon with another card. And I will catch you then.